Hi guys and welcome back to Tom Talks. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And music awards season is upon us again because the Mercury Prize has just been announced, of course, won by Ezra Collective last year. But let's look into the nominees and I'll give my thoughts on them. And then I'll go into some of the albums that I'm a tad surprised / think deserve to be on the list. But let's go. So, Barry Can't Swim, When Will We Land? I've already talked about how I enjoyed this record, and it is a really good record, and it's thoroughly deserved. It really is. I mean, Barry Can't Swim is probably one of the most interesting and innovative. God, I can't get that word right. Producers at the moment. I really like what he does. It's a really good album, and he definitely deserves to be here. And it caps off what's been a good year so far for him. I mean, he's performed at Glastonbury. He got a Brit Award nominee. So big ups to him. He deserves it. He's probably not as known as some other people in the scene, like Fred again, for example, but he absolutely deserves to be on here. Berwyn is back with Who Am I? I first heard of Berwyn because of the Mercury Prize. I've not listened to the new album yet, but it is an album that I was anticipating this year. I imagine it's very good. And Berwyn is definitely one of the most talented rappers of this generation in the UK right now, so he probably deserves to be here. Beth Gibbons with her album Lives Outgrown. I didn't know that Beth Gibbons, the lead singer of Portishead, had a solo album, but Beth Gibbons is a good singer, so I will look into that. The new Cat Burns album, Early 20s, which only came out last week. They did do that last year, to be fair, with the J Hus album, but Cat Burns has got some good music. I will listen to the album before giving my thoughts overall, but, you know, it's a good album. Charlie XCX's Brat, which I just dropped a review of, so go check that out. I'll put a link to the Mercury Prize nominees for this year that I've reviewed so far, and I will add to that list once I go through these all. It's not till September. I should be able to get through all of them by then, should I? But Brat is a fantastic album. Again, did a review, checked my thoughts out on why I love that album. C-Matt with Crazy Mad for Me. C-Matt again, and she's doing well at the moment. Got a Brit Award nominee. I've only really listened to one of her songs, although I did quite like it, so I'm going to have to go back to that album, I think. Well, I mean, listen to the album, but she's doing well at the moment, so I'm not surprised to see her here. Corinne Bailey Rae's new album, Black Rainbows. I need to listen to that, because Corinne Bailey Rae was really good back in the day, but I am interested to see what that album's like. Corto Alto, Bad With Names. Now, Corto Alto don't even have a Wikipedia page, so don't be mad at me for not knowing who they are, but I'll have to check that out. English Teacher, I have heard of. Their album, This Could Be Texas, has been nominated, but I've not listened to them, so that's another one I'm going to have to listen to. The new Gets album, On Purpose With Purpose. Personally, I think there is better UK projects. I did enjoy the new Gets album, but I'm not as in love with it as Conflict of Interest. I think, you know, there could have been other UK rap albums on here, but it's a very good album, so I'm not too mad. Near Archives album, Silence Is Loud. I have reviewed that over on the Industry Me website, so I'll put a link to that in the description. A really enjoyable record, great beats, very open, quite emotional. A good story to that record. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then The Last Dinner Party with Prelude to Ecstasy. I mean, they are the it group at the moment. They've had a fantastic year. This album has done very well. And it is a very good album, to be fair. So I think it does deserve to be here. So if I had to pick one of these, I'm obviously going to go for Brat, personally. And I feel like that or The Last Dinner Party are probably going to be the favourites to win this award. I think Near Archives probably has a chance as well. Maybe Cat Burns, maybe Berwyn. But yeah, we'll see. But it's a good list. I think this is a good. I mean, the Mercury Prize 9 times out of 10 does do good lists, but I think this is a good list, and I'd say it's better overall than last year's list, in my opinion. Although the albums I've heard are all great to amazing, and the albums I haven't heard are from people who I either don't know, and that's on me, or they're artists who I know make good music. So overall, I think that's fair enough. Right, let's see who they've missed out. First, The Ballad of Darren. I'm kind of surprised they've not nominated that. Personally, I think that's okay because the album as a whole didn't quite stick the landing, but I'm kind of surprised. Blur are sort of the type of band you would have thought they'd put in there. A little bit surprised they've not included Jungle's album, Volcano, but personally I think that's fine as well. That was a good album, it wasn't a great album. I think Romy's album, I think it's debatable to put it on the list. I think it was a really enjoyable record. I think the Barry Can't Swim is better, and they do tend to not put too many dance electronic albums on there. But I think Romy, it's arguable she could be on the list personally. I'm kind of surprised the new Sampha album's not on here. I haven't listened to it personally, but Sampha is a pretty critically acclaimed artist. I did enjoy the singles I heard from this album, but I am quite surprised not to see Sampha on here. I personally enjoyed the new Idols album. It's not their best work, I guess, but looking at like the lack of like post-punk on here, I thought they might put them in there as I guess they're not really making post-punk anymore because the political edge to it has been sort of undermined slightly. But yeah, no Idols here. I'm a bit, I don't know. I like the album. I need to probably go back to it again and see how much I like it. I'll also say as well, I really enjoyed the new Potter Paper project, but again, they've ignored him. Have they got something against Potter Paper? Because like he keeps delivering really good projects and then just gets ignored. They've ignored the new Yard Act album as well. Yard Act, a more post-punk type pick, although they've kind of made it a bit more poppy, danceable, their stuff. But I feel like they're somebody arguably you could put on the list. I mean, Bob Vylan even, like, they're like a pretty good post-punk pick to put on there, but nothing from them. The new Bring Me the Horizon album, I think that deserves to be on the list. It's really good. I think it fits a lot of genres that aren't particularly represented here. It's a really good album, and I feel like it deserves to be on the list personally, but I don't think Bring Me's ever been nominated, so maybe that the Mercury Prize judges don't really like that. And also, finally, that new Rachel Chidoriri album was fantastic. I'm really surprised they didn't include that. I thought that was a great album. Great singles. It was really good, so I think that deserved to be on here too. That I'd say is probably that and Bring Me the Horizon. I'd say were probably the biggest omissions in my opinion, but that's just me personally. I've also thought of a few more whilst editing this video. The Heady One album was really good. I think that could arguably be here instead of the Gets record. I think they're very close. I feel like I was being a bit harsh. The Gets album is very good. It's just I feel like there's better UK rap albums personally, but still the Gets album's like an 8 out of 10. I'm not dissing that record. But I'd also like to comment on the omission of R&B because the Mercury Prize really doesn't represent R&B. And, you know, in the space of the last awards nominations, we've had 2 fantastic Cleo Soul albums. Sinead Harnett produced a really good album. There's also probably been other ones that I've forgotten to mention, but like the Mercury Prize really doesn't seem to like care or put any attention towards R&B. And I find that a little bit odd because it does pay homage to most genres overall. Again, there's not representation this year for like soul music or reggae or anything like that, but it has paid homage to some of those genres in the past, but here, yeah, there's no, they always forget R&B, and I think that's something that needs looking at personally, because there is a lot of great R&B records that deserve to be put in the spotlight, which this award does, as I proved earlier with the fact that I heard of Berwyn from it. So that's just my final thoughts on the people who missed out on nominations. And that's my thoughts on the Mercury Prize. So I think it's a very good list overall. There's a few people on here I'm not too familiar with, so I will have to check them out as well. And there's a lot of albums for me to check out. So, looking forward to that. At the end of the video, there's going to be a link to a playlist, which I will update as I go through the Mercury Prize albums. And as I said, I'll link to my Neo Archives review in the comments, because I've already reviewed that, so that it won't be up on YouTube. But there'll be a link below, so check that out. What's your thoughts? Who do you think's been omitted? Is there anyone that I haven't mentioned that you think should be on the list? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, folks, this has been another Tom Talks.